Well, I want to associate myself with the last remarks of Senator Roberts. There certainly is tremendous recognition by the members of this committee of the importance of your responsibility and the professionalism with which it is discharged. And I don't want this hearing, which has focused on some specific events, to distort that broader appreciation. In that regard, just to ask a question, I'm speaking particularly to the Phoenix and Minneapolis agents. You performed with a personal standard of exceptional vision and aggressiveness and creativity. Have you received any rewards or recognition to date for your service in this particular issue?
Well, sir, I don't expect that. I get paid by the American people to do this job, and I view it as part of my job. And I get a salary, and that's reward enough, and it's reward enough to work for the agency. Now, that may sound cliche or hokey, but I sincerely believe that. I'm doing my job, and I really don't believe I need any additional extra recognition for doing it.
I agree with those remarks, and part of the reward that we're reaping, I believe, is the opportunity to come here and tell you our story and tell you where we think the intelligence is broken down and what the United States Congress can do to perhaps help us do our mission. Were it not for this forum, I wouldn't have that opportunity. And so we don't need any sort of monetary recognition, any sort of pat on the back. We are, in fact, doing the job that we signed on to do, and we appreciate the opportunity to do it.
Well, I admire your modesty, but I'm a believer that one of the things that motivates people is recognition and reward for beyond the call of duty performance. And I would suggest that you and others of your colleagues who might not be as well known as the two of you have in fact performed in such a manner, and there ought to be some method by which that is recognized and therefore presented as a role model of conduct for others to aspire to. In the staff memo relative to Phoenix, there's this sentence: the Phoenix SA believes that El-Hajj established an Osama bin Laden support network in Arizona while he was living there, and that this network is still in place. To the Phoenix agent, do you agree with that sentence?
When I made that comment, Senator, it's speculative, and I base it on historical investigation, some of which I can't get involved in this open session, and I'd prefer to address it in closed session.
Well, the chair may be announcing our desire to have such a closed session, and I would just alert that I'll be pursuing that question should we do so. On the issue of the Minneapolis office going directly to the CIA or other intelligence agencies requesting assistance or providing information, Mr. Rollins, you indicated that there was good reason for not encouraging that kind of behavior. But in the context of the Phoenix memo, where one of the specific requests made by the agent was, quote, headquarters should discuss the Phoenix theories with the intelligence community, that was one of the items that was not followed, one of the recommendations not followed. Wouldn't that create a sense in the field that if they believe the situation is sufficiently urgent, that they might have to take the situation into their hands and go directly to an intelligence agency?
If they had asked at headquarters, can we raise this issue with CTC? In fact, the person that it was raised with was an FBI agent, ironically, and were turned down, then I would have no objection whatsoever to them moving it and escalating it.
Is the them, in this case, the Phoenix or the Minneapolis?
Minneapolis. But I wouldn't take the Phoenix EC, one example of something that should have been done, and I'll be perfectly honest with you, one of the great frustrations in that, it talks about airlines, we have FAA people in the unit. It talks about intelligence, we have CIA people. It talks about visas, there are State Department people and immigration people in that unit. And that information should have been shared, if only for FYI purposes, with all those people at our headquarters. And it wasn't done, and it should have been done.
It was indicated that the excuse me, Mr. Kennedy, that the example of the FISA issue where there was confusion as to what the legal standard, that it may have been that Moussaoui was a singular exception, that there were no other examples come to mind. Are there any other examples that come to mind analogous to the Phoenix communique where they made a specific request that information be shared with intelligence when that request was not adhered to?
In the 3.5 years I was there, I can think of none, and I think part of the reason for that is what did not happen there was the dialogue, the travel back, the emails, the phone calls, the coordinating meetings with OIPR that are done on a regular basis, day in and day out. So what we generally do precludes that kind of instance from happening. And had perhaps those dialogues, visits, et cetera, taken place, we could have gotten to the heart of the issue, which was, is it agent of foreign power or is it foreign power that we're stumbling over here? But at the end of the day, we did bring back every single person from Minneapolis relevant to the situation, the Office of General Counsel and the substantive unit. We spent 6 hours, went through every single line of every single email, and then I turned to my colleague and said, what do you think? And the Deputy General Counsel said, it's not there.
And what date was that meeting?
Last week of November, last week of October, first week of November. I've seen two different dates. It's either the 30th or the 1st.
This is 2001.
This is post 9/11, 2001, yes.